Hi guys, so that's what we're starting with. You can see it's an old frame, it's pretty rusty. You can see different layers of paint. There's black, there's pink, there's yellow. You're gonna see all that later. It's pretty bad. You can see it's all rusty and it's a mess. There's gonna be a lot of work here. You can see the chainstay pretty bad. So started sanding with this drill bit just to do like the rough sanding. You can see it turns out quite good. The videos are gonna get better, I promise. I just didn't think I wasn't thinking on doing this video, so I just had some pictures in the beginning with my phone. In the videos you can see they're vertical, but still they get better, I promise. So this is the serial number I found when I was sanding. Yeah, here I'm down to those more complicated spots here where the clusters, you know, the seat post cluster, the bottom bracket cluster, that was quite complicated to clean. So after I did all the big sanding, I started using this gas torch, kind of torching the frame, burning the paint. Takes time, but it works quite good. So I'm kind of burning the paint here, as you can see, and then I'm using just like a wire brush to brush the paint, and you can see the results are quite nice, quite pleasing. Here's the seat post cluster. Pretty bad. You can see all the paint, different paint here. That's how it turned out. Takes quite a lot of burning and scrubbing with the wire brush and then sanding again. Here you can see I'm using 600 grit, kind of doing the less rough sanding by hand now. Yeah, took quite a lot of sanding and quite a lot of time. Every time I do a project like this, I promise myself I'm never doing it again, and after a few years I'm back to square zero, doing it again. But I mean, that's life, you know. Things you like to do and you're gonna do them anyways. So yeah, a lot of sanding here. That's just the frame. Starting to look quite good. You see my idea. Okay, through all that sanding, you can see these are the cups, the headset. Found out that the cups, the top cup was cracked. You can see the cracks here. Yeah, I'm gonna have to change those cups, the whole headset basically. Yeah, let's get rid of those cups. That's the first time I'm using a tool like this in my life. You can see. Back in the day we just used like a screwdriver or something and a hammer. But I thought that's a lot safer for the frame, and after all the sanding I don't want to like damage the frame, damage the head tube or something. So I thought I'm gonna use that tool. And it wasn't going like on the videos I saw on YouTube. It was a lot harder than that. I found out later that those cups were welded to the frame. They got these little spots where they're welded. I don't know why. It's just the way it is. Anyway, you can see the frame is looking quite cool now. My idea is just leave it like that. Just go over it with a clear coat so it doesn't rust again. And just leave it like that, bare metal. I think it looks quite cool. Okay, one cup is out. See, my tool got bent. Okay, let's see that one. If it gets out easier than that. So, as I was saying, yeah, I'm just gonna leave this frame as it is. Just go, okay, that's out. Just clear coat it and leave it like that. I think it looks pretty cool, pretty industrial. Reminds me of those old planes, you know, the Second World War, and after that they were aluminium but still looked kind of similar. So here cleaning the head tube a little bit, some more sanding just to make sure it's all nice and clean, so I can put the new headset in, new cups, without any problems. A lot of sanding in this project, as you can already see, and I saved you a lot of that. Okay, here I'm gonna go over the frame with a 1500 grit, just to kind of make it smoother. Still going for this kind of mirror finish. I don't know if I'm gonna get it, but still I'm gonna try. So 1500. I think that was the finer I got. I never used 2000, or maybe I did, I don't remember. I think I didn't. You can see it looks a lot better after the 1500. You can see this top tube starting to look real shiny, real smooth. I also bought this polishing kit. I thought I'm gonna polish the whole frame before clear coating it, but then I thought if I use that to wax if I waxed it, maybe the clear coat wouldn't stick as well to the frame. So at the end I just thought I'm just gonna go dry without the wax, just gonna polish it kinda, just with this, like, what do you call this, with this drill bit. What is it? It's felt. It's a felt bit. It didn't do much. I wouldn't do it again if I had to. Wasn't worth it in my opinion. Yeah, that's the polished, quote-unquote polished frame. Just clean it a little bit. It looks quite good anyway. Nice weather outside. I did a lot of work on my terrace, as you can see. Between my terrace and my rehearsal studio, in the rehearsal studio I did all the painting and stuff, just to avoid some dust getting on the frame. Okay, so you can see now, it looks quite cool. Nice. All clean, no paint. So after all that sanding, you can see, looks pretty awesome. My dog there. Yeah, you can still see some scratches, like deeper scratches that didn't get polished, and some pitting and all of that. But all in all, it looks quite cool. I like it. It's not like perfect, but that gives it some kind of a character. So yeah, pretty happy. Nice. It looks pretty cool. Okay, so back to my rehearsal studio, ready to paint. Okay, ready to clear coat. Just gonna clean the frame with some acetone, just to get rid of some greasy fingerprints and stuff like that, you know. All the dust and all of that. Mostly greasy fingerprints. I kind of made myself an improvised painting corner with this, like just using garbage bags and some painter's tape, as you can see. Still not a good idea to paint in like a non-ventilated space like this. And I forgot to put the mask on, which is not a good idea, man. Yeah, always make sure you shake your spray can, then spray on something before you start spraying on your frame. Just spray on something else to see if it has some drops on stuff. Yeah, that's the first hand of clear coat. I'm going pretty light with the first one, as you can see, just a little bit. Then I'm gonna wait for like 24 hours. I'm gonna put another layer, wait for 24 hours, put another layer, and I did like 4, I think, on the frame. And then putting a clear coat on must be the least satisfying thing. You can't see any difference basically. You just painting, but you don't know if you're doing a good job or not. So yeah, not very satisfying. Okay, turn it around. The other side, that's still the first layer. Light layer, then leave it as I mean, as that is not a 2K spray, it's just a normal spray. It doesn't have a hardener or anything like that. It dries quite slow, so better just leave it for 24 hours. Okay, onto the wheels. You can see pretty bad, super rusty. Everything's rusty, and you can see somebody just painted all over the rims, various different layers of paint again, black, yellow, pink, violet. It's a big mess. And yeah, those are steel wheels, so they're pretty rusty. This is the rear one, as bad as the front one. I already cleaned the cassette, changed the rear axle, so it works fine. I mean, it works fine, but it looks terrible. And yeah, those are steel, so they're pretty damn heavy. I'm not sure, I'm gonna try and save those. Tires also, you can see this rear tire is just long gone. Yeah, I'm gonna try and save those wheels. Let's see if we can use them. We can clean them well enough. Maybe we can use those. Yeah, getting rid of that old tire might save the front one. It's not too bad. While I'm waiting for the frame to dry, put another layer. Yeah, as I was telling you, I did 4 different layers of clear coat on the frame and the fork. It took quite a lot of time because you really have to wait in between one layer and the next one, otherwise it doesn't work. And make sure you maybe leave your frame and fork for at least a week after you finished painting. Okay, here's the fork. You can see it's pretty bad, super rusty. You can see some yellow underneath, some like purple, black on top. You can see this. Yeah, quite messy. Let's see if we can save this one. Of course we can. So I'm gonna start with like a wire brush drill bit. Make sure you always wear safety glasses when you're working with those like wire drill bits, because there's wire flying around everywhere and it's pretty dangerous. I mean, if you don't use safety glasses, you're basically like looking for a trouble. Yeah, let's see. All the different colors. Pretty bad. But yeah, it's gonna turn out great, sure. If I could save the fork, the frame. Fork is easy. So yeah, that's like a sandpaper drill bit. Same thing I use for the frame. Just going over it. And yeah, that's like the big sanding done. All the machine stuff. I'm gonna have to go to the torch again. Burn that paint on the brake posts, more complicated spots. Yeah, just again same thing as the frame, just burning the paint and then using a wire brush to kind of scrub the paint. And be careful, it gets pretty hot, so be careful where it's actually touching. You can see That's the wire brush. It's just like a normal, it's not steel, it's some other thing. It's like yellowish, maybe copper, or who knows. Yeah. Loads of that again. Yeah, a lot easier than, compared to the frame, that's a lot easier. Those clusters, like the bottom bracket cluster and the seat post cluster, terrible cleaning. Okay, that's what we got. A lot cleaner, as you can see. Still a lot of work to be done here, but looks a lot better. Yeah, now let's go to the sand block again. Not sure what was that, maybe 80 grit, something like that. Just sanding it by hand. Now that's 600. You can see it's looking quite good already. And now with the 600 grit, it's gonna look amazing. Ooh, 1500, okay. Didn't remember that part. Yeah, 1500 is basically polishing in my mind. Looks quite good after 1500. Can only imagine if I did 2000, like wet and dry. Yeah, looks nice. Pretty happy with that. Nice and clean and shiny. I hope I don't mess it with a clear coat. Okay, ready for that clear coat. Cleaning the fork again. Making sure there's no greasy fingerprints. Still, I'm gonna grease the brake posts so I don't get clear coat inside of like the threaded area. Okay, let's go for the clear coat. Again, one pretty light layer for the first one. It's basically like 2 minutes of painting and then I'm gone. Still not wearing a mask. Not a good idea. Gets pretty toxic in there without ventilation. It's a small space. So I basically had to spray and go home and come back in like 24 hours. Okay, let's see those wheels. Can do something. Again, it's like a wire brush drill bit. There's gonna be a lot of that. I'm using the drill. Otherwise, if I had to do this by hand, I don't know. Okay, you can see kind of looks a little bit better. They were quite bad, those wheels. So much paint on top. Keep going for the Dremel. Didn't do much, that thing. You can see the bit, and after 5 minutes of use, that's what it looks like. So. Didn't do much. Yeah, that's kind of the final result. You can see it looks a lot better than before compared to the rear wheel behind. You can see that's the rear, still rusty, and the front looks a lot better, but I really don't know if I had to do the same on the rear wheel. Looks like too much work for now. Might try and find some different wheels. Okay, that's the handlebars I'm planning on using. You can see it's like a normal race bar. Looks quite good. Not too wide, it's like 620 millimeters, I think. It's good for traffic, not too wide. Can get in between cars kind of easily. Could be a little bit narrower too. Maybe 600, but that's okay too. 620 feels quite good in the hands. And yeah, sanding again. Okay, that's the stem I'm gonna use. I bought this at the local flea market. Looks quite cool. It's a nice aluminium stem. I'm gonna just go and sand it a little bit, but I don't really want to polish it. I want to leave some paint on. I'm going for this like worn out effect for the handlebars and the stem. I don't want them to look perfect. I want some of that black paint to stay on. So I'm just gonna kind of sand it a little bit, see what happens. Yeah, it looks quite cool. It looks like worn out, like naturally worn out. Yeah, I like it. I like that stem. And here's the stem with the handlebar. I think they go together pretty good. It looks cool. With some like black grips and controls, that's gonna look quite cool. Okay, here's where the fun starts. You can see I've got all my parts, some new parts, some old parts, my tools down there, everything's ready. You can see handlebars with the stem, fork, and most important, frame. Yeah, let's get that thing back together. First thing, probably the least fun, chain guard. I'm just gonna go old school, use like an old inner tube and make myself a chain guard. Pretty simple. Just cut the strip, use some zip ties, and that's that. It looks alright, I like it. It's like this classic rat style. Okay, let's see, what do we have here? Some finishing touches on the head tube. It's from the welding. I told you that was just there were just like little weld spots where they welded the cups to the head tube. Excuse me. Okay, that's the new headset. You can see the cups. They look quite cool. It's just some AliExpress brand. They're cool, they look nice. It's one of those sealed bearing headsets. I'm using my press. We used to do this just by hand, just hammer it in with like a rubber hammer or something, but yeah, now I have a proper tool. And you can see those cups, they get in pretty easily. This one just got in without, just by hand basically. Didn't have to use a wrench or anything, which is alright. Okay, some more grease. And get the top cup in. There you go. That one did need a wrench. Okay, it looks quite cool. I like those. Yeah, nice. With this little logo on the bottom one. It's called Muxi or something like that, I don't know, some AliExpress brand. Okay, here's the fork. You know these washers with this stopper thing, they usually mess up your threads quite a lot, the threads on your fork. So I normally just get rid of that like little thing there on the washer. Just file it and get rid of it. Yeah, there you go. Now it's ready. Already put the fork crown, I think. It's one of those split ones. Okay, here it is actually. One of those split ones, so it gets in quite easily. You don't have to hammer it or anything. Just push it with your fingers and it's on. And then bearings. As I told you, is like sealed bearings. And nice. Some more grease. Always a good idea to pack some fresh grease. Okay, forks getting on. Okay, more grease. And that's the top nut. Okay, there was a problem here. First problem, and first major thing to put on the bike, and there's a first problem. So this nut wouldn't really get tight, and the fork, I mean that headset is too tall for that fork. Those bearings are too tall, the cups are too tall, so it didn't really work. I couldn't tighten properly the fork. It didn't work. Then I tried to put some old bearings. These are not so tall, so I thought maybe that'll do. Is use the black cups, the new cups, but with a like a different set of bearings, and it didn't work either. You can see that's a different head nut, top nut, sorry, but it still didn't really work. So yeah, quite a disappointment. It looked very nice, that headset, but I'm just gonna have to use a different one. Maybe use the old one, the cracked one, and just order a new one and wait for it to come. But meanwhile, I might use I might just use the old one. It's alright. Okay, new bottom bracket. I'm going for this sealed one. Not much here. Just make sure you grease everything. Clean your threads first. Grease all the threads. Normally, if you imagine you sit it on the bike, you should be able to read what's written. And this one also had the left and right indications, so it's pretty easy. Now you can see I'm going on the wrong side to the right, and I'm listening for this king. It means I found the threads. So at the moment I hear this thing, I can go left and start threading in the bottom bracket, because with the bottom bracket you have to remember the directions. Always when you go to the front of the bike, in this case on this side, when you go to the right, to the front of the bike, it's out, so you get in the bottom bracket out. When you go back to the rear of the bike, it's going in. So first I make sure I move it real good, just by hand. Screw it in and out a couple of times, so it really goes like with no effort. Because if you cross thread the bottom bracket, you're basically done with your frame set. So yeah, I'm making sure everything's clean. Now I'm gonna go again, grease it again, and listen now. Okay, that was the king, so I can start threading it in now. I don't know if you get what I'm saying, but yeah, just by hand still, using the tool, but still by hand. So now I'm gonna secure my bottom bracket too, and gonna tighten it a little bit more. Still won't go crazy. Getting the big wrench. That'll do. So remember, to the front of the bike, out, taking the bottom bracket out. To the back of the bike, to the rear, it's getting back in. And here, taking off the these cups. I told you they didn't work, so cool. They look real cool, but yeah, it's what it is sometimes. Okay, these are out. I'm gonna grease it again, put some fresh grease, and I'm just gonna go put the old headset back in. I already ordered a new headset, but I'm not waiting for like 2-3 weeks for it to come. I'm just gonna get the bike together and ride it as it is, and when it comes I'm gonna change it again. Not a big deal. Here, using my tool again. I love this tool. It works quite well, and it looks cool too. Yeah, make sure your cup is level with the frame, and I know normally I just put one cup at a time. It makes it easier to control. And put some grease, don't go dry. Okay, those are the cups in. It looks okay. I liked it more with the black ones, but yeah. Now let's get the bearings in. Grease, fresh grease, always. And that bottom bracket was the same on the other side, because we just saw one side. The other side was pretty much the same. Just find the spot where the threads start, thread it in and out a few times, make sure everything's clean, grease it, and that's it. Okay, forks in. I'm probably gonna do the same thing here with the top nut. I'm gonna go by hand, screw it in, get it out, clean it, go again, just making sure you don't cross thread anything. Just be careful. Always go with any bolt or nut, just go by hand first. Make sure it's threaded properly, and then you go again. Here you can see the top nut, the old one. Someone wrecked it pretty bad. Looks horrible, all those marks. So yeah, I'm just gonna use this one. It was from the other headset, from the new headset. Looks a lot better, a lot cleaner. So for now, I'm just gonna put this one on. And again, just by hand. And then you can tighten it properly, but don't go crazy. Don't leave it loose anyway. I mean, it's an important part, the fork. You don't want your fork loose, but still, don't go crazy tightening stuff. Okay, some more grease. Grease the stem a little bit so it doesn't get stuck. It's like you don't want that stuck stems and seat posts. Terrible stuff. So I'll always grease everything. Yeah. There you go. Fork, stem, handlebars on. Starting to look like a bike. Pretty nice. I'm happy. You can see that worn out kind of look with some black paint, but also you can see the metal. Yeah, crankset. It's an old Alivio, Shimano Alivio. I bought this at the local flea market. You can see there's a bit of damage inside of the square, but I kind of filed it a little bit, cleaned it, so it works pretty nice. And this is some old VP pedals. I love those. Again, from the local flea market, just second hand. You can find a lot of cool stuff there. Now you can see, before I install those cranks, I'm gonna make sure all the threads are clean. I'm gonna put my crank removal tool. I'm gonna thread it in, make sure it gets in and it gets out and everything works and there's no problem with the threads. Why? Because you don't want to put the cranks on and then try and get them out, and turns out your threads are all fucked up and they don't work and you're stuck with cranks. You're gonna have to cut the bottom bracket or something. So always, before you put new cranks on, make sure the threads are all good, and you can screw in your removal tool, crank removal tool, just in case you need to remove your cranks someday. And again, greasing the tapers here, you can see I'm greasing the bottom bracket. Some people don't like that, but I grease it because, again, you don't want your cranks to get stuck. If you had to remove stuck bottom brackets and cranks, you know what I'm talking about. And here again with the bolts, just going easy, just by hand a little bit. Make sure all the threads are good, nothing's cross-threaded, and then you can use your tool. And still, no need to go like super tight, super crazy. These cranks ain't getting out. You're not losing those, I mean, it's hard enough to get them out. You can see I'm checking the distance between those front plates and the frame. It looks quite a distance, so that bottom bracket might be a bit too wide. I'm not sure if it's gonna work. There's gonna be a lot of cross chain here. You can see a lot of space. And that's the old bottom bracket. It's a little bit like smaller, less wide. It's not much. Still, I'm gonna have to put this one because that new one is too wide. I'm still probably gonna go and order a new like smaller bottom bracket, like sealed one, but for now I'm just gonna clean the original bottom bracket. Just gonna clean it and use that while I'm waiting for the new bottom bracket. Yeah, that's all the parts clean and nice. Took some scrubbing. These are the bearings. You can see these are the open bearings that use those spacers. Everything's nice and clean now, but it was pretty bad, full of gunk, like old grease and dirt, typical for mountain bikes and bottom brackets. That's why they started using those sealed ones, because you don't get any water and dirt and grime inside. But yeah, these old ones, they work fine. I like them actually. It's like a little bit of a vintage touch to the bike. I'm gonna change it anyways, but just while I'm waiting for the new one. So let's grease those spacers and start putting in the bearings. You need to grease them, otherwise they don't stick and they fall all the time. So using a little bit of grease always helps. That's basically the only way to do it. Takes some time. Okay, let's grease those cups too. Get the bearings in. Remember, always the open side, the side with where you can see the little metal balls. This open side goes to the cup. And then grease it up on top of it, just pack it with grease. Then I'm gonna pack the whole bottom bracket, but just for now, so they don't fall all the time. Yeah, that's that, done. And same thing on the other one. Grease it up. Grease the spacer. get the bearings in. And that's that. The shaft, the nuts. Okay, let's get that on the bike. You can see now I'm gonna be happy I greased everything, because these cranks are getting out nice and easy with the crank pull. Imagine if those threads weren't good. I'm glad I checked everything. Okay, getting those cranks out, pretty easy, no problem here. Getting the bottom bracket tool secure. Now remember, to the front is out, although it's clockwise. To the front, out. To the rear of the back of the bike, in. Okay, let's get that on. Let's listen for that king. Remember. Let's see. Going to the wrong side. Okay, there it is. Now to the right side, to the left, to the rear of the bike. Let's tighten it a little bit. And the other side is pretty much the same. Getting the shaft in. I'm not gonna pack it with grease right now, because I'm just gonna put the bottom bracket on, and I'm gonna check the distance between the chain rings and the frame, see if it's any better. And then if I decide to use this bottom bracket, I'm gonna pack it with grease and all that. So yeah, let's see. I hope it works. But yeah, that's the original bottom bracket, so it should work. Okay, let's measure that distance. It's a lot less than before, so that's good. It should work. And then again, I already ordered a different bottom bracket, a narrower one. Okay, packing up with grease, so no water can get in, no dirt. And getting those cranks on. I love those pedals. Looking cool. Okay, front derailleur. It's just like a micro shift one. It's alright. Looks nice. Works fine. Nothing special. Okay, all looks good. Rear derailleur. I love this one. It looks so like vintage, so vintage, not in a good way. I don't know. I like those. I like the way they look. They're like super cheap derailleurs. Your typical 6-speed cheapo, but they work fine. There's nothing wrong with them. And since I'm going for this like rat look, I thought it's gonna look nice with this kind of derailleur. It was like $5 or something. Okay, brand new canties. Those are normally they come in like front and rear, and they didn't have the fronts, so I got 2 sets of rear brakes. I hope they work. I don't see why not. But you can see they're both rear, so let's open them and put them on the bike and hope they work. They look super cool. I like those canties, especially when they're new. They're just like perfect. all polished and shiny. Yeah, they look pretty cool. Not the best brakes, but they look cool. I'm willing to sacrifice some performance for looks with this bike. Okay, going for that middle hole. Same thing on this side. No rocket science, just normal canties. Again, all the bolts first, thread them by hand and then use a tool. Just make sure you don't cross thread anything. Same thing in the back. Looks fine in the front, I don't know. It's a rear brake, but it looks alright. I think it will work. Don't see why not. Nice and tight. Okay, that's that. On to the next thing. Every bike needs a little bell, especially if you're gonna use it like a commuter bike. You need a bell, and this one looks quite cool. It's super discreet, and it works, as you could hear. Okay, getting some of the cables on, measuring some cables. You're gonna have to cut that one, it's pretty long. The cable housing, I mean. Okay, as you can see, it works. Onto the front derailleur, I guess, and front brake. Again, just making sure those cable housings nice and organized. Everything seems to work for now. Starting to look like a bike. It's always a nice moment when you get to that point. I finally bought like real cutters. You can see cable cutters, and they're real nice. Look. Oof, like a hot knife through butter. They're not cheap, but they're really nice. I'm glad I bought those finally. I always used some like cheaper cutters which never cut properly. So pretty happy with those. Okay, cable in the rear brake here. Nothing special. That one's pretty long, I think. Hope I cut it. Okay, those cutters again. Ooh, nice. You can see I'm happy with my cutter. Okay, getting some WD-40 in the housings, so your cables kind of move freely and they don't rust as fast. And cable in the front brake too. It's one of those. The stem has this like cable hanger built in. I love those. It looks quite good. And yeah, on to the new wheels. As you can see, I kinda sacrificed my old bike. I like that bike. I had to sacrifice it, so I got the wheels off of it, and I'm gonna use these wheels on the new bike. It's always nice when you have a new bike day. You're pretty happy, but it's a little bit sad too, because kind of getting rid of an old bike. I'll figure something out for the old one too. Okay, so let's change that rear axle, because it's pretty bad. It's pretty bent, the old one. And I had this new rear axle, so I thought I'd just go and change it. Nothing special here, just getting the old one out. I'm not gonna remove the cassette or anything, just the rear axle. I'm gonna clean it a little bit, get rid of all that grime, dirt and old grease. Clean the hubs a little bit. Yeah, some fresh grease. I've cleaned the bearings too. And there goes the new axle. Kind of setting it up a little bit, making sure there's no play and still moves freely. That looks quite nice, I guess. Yep, nice, we got wheels. And now for maybe the star of the build, the new tires. Pretty excited about this. So let's get rid of those old tires, and here are the new tires. I really wanted a set of like 10 wall tires. I wanted one of those for like forever, so I went and got those. These are CST Jackrabbits, 26 by 2.1. They look pretty cool. It's like a nice all-round tire. Works on tarmac, works on gravel, maybe some mud. It's not too knobby, but it's good. And it looks awesome. I mean, I bought them just for the looks. They look super cool. You'll see. Yeah. Making sure they're like put nice and even. Oh yeah, those tires they make these wheels look so cool. And that's the real one. Yeah, super cool. Super happy with those. Nice. Okay, let's get those wheels on the bike. That's gonna be a big moment. It's always like a big moment when you get the wheels on. Okay. Making sure it's straight. As always, just tightening the nuts by hand, making sure it's all straight. And then you can go and use a wrench. Again, I want it straight in the middle. Yeah, looks nice. And let's go and put the front one on. Oh yeah, that looks so cool. Alright, that's a bike now. You can see I'm pretty happy, pretty excited. Yeah, let's get those brakes finished. Nothing special here. These are actually super easy to set up. Nice and easy to set the distance, nice and easy setting up the brake pads. It's really straightforward. I like those brakes a lot. Again, they're not like super good brakes, but they look cool and they kind of work. That's good enough for me. And here, setting up the brake pads. And same thing on the other side. Okay, it works, but kind of looks pretty loose. I'm gonna have to put some tension into that cable and get the pads closer to the rim. Okay, I think that looks better. That's actually the front brake, which is actually a rear brake, and according to Shimano it shouldn't be used as a front brake, but it actually works better than the rear one. I don't know why. Maybe I didn't set up the rear one as well, but I like the front one better. But yeah, if you're wondering if they're gonna work as front brakes, if you got the rear and put it on the front, it works. It's alright. I don't know what's the difference, but it works. Okay, on to the next fun part. A new chain. Always nice when you put on a new chain. Nice clean chain. I've already cleaned it, so there's none of that like sticky thing they put when you buy a new chain. It's nice and clean. Making sure the railers are on the biggest cock and the biggest plate, front and back. Threading the chain. It's just a cheap chain, but I like a one from AliExpress, but it's nice. It's a new chain. Just kind of measuring the length. You can see I got a marker in my mouth. Here I'm gonna mark the point where I'm gonna split the chain. Normally if you have someone to help you with it, it's easier, but yeah, you can do it like that. Okay, let's cut the chain. And that's that. Now I'm gonna use an old trick. I'm gonna get a zip tie both ends of the chain together, so I can get it back together and work without having to like struggle to to put it back together. They kind of sell those like wires that do basically the same thing, but yeah, I'm just using a zip tie. So now I'm just gonna lock it back together using the chain tool. Some people use like just a hammer and a hard place. You can do it like that too, but yeah, just gonna use my tool. That's why I have it. And once you're done, just cut the zip tie, and there you go. Make sure it moves nice and loose. And that's that. Chain on. Nice. Okay, time for the seat. I really like this seat. It's actually the first cutout seat I'm gonna try. It's again an AliExpress cheapo. but it looks very nice and looks like a quality seat. Cleaning the seat tube a little bit first, making sure it's not rusty and grimy, because we're gonna put this brand new seat post. We don't want to get it dirty and rusty. Nice seat clamp, brand new, black one. Really like how it looks on this frame. And yeah, I'm gonna grease up the seat post a little bit, as everything. And there goes our seat. Oh man, that bike is gonna look so cool when it's finished. Can't wait. Okay, final touches, grips. Nice grips, nothing special, but new grips are always nice. Oh yeah, so satisfying. And the real final touch. Yeah, let's get that sticker on. And we're done. Oh yeah, it turned out real cool. I love this bike. It looks so cool. Ride's nice too. You can see those tires, man. I mean, they're really the star of the build. Those VP pedals. This seat too. I like this seat. Brakes look cool. They're not the best brakes, but they look very nice. You can see the cockpit, nice and clean, with that worn out look. Nothing special, but it's really nice. I like it. Front brakes. And again, those tires are just so cool. It's like 80% of the bike is those tires. It looks so nice. And that bare metal frame too. Yeah, pretty happy with it. The ride's nice. It's not too heavy. It's like a perfect bike for me. Maybe my favorite build so far. Yeah, thanks for watching. That was a long one. Cheers.